Good morning, Karen from Quantum Heart Awakening. Let's do a divine masculine check-in. Let's check in with our delicious divine masculine inner and outer. Okay, Spirit, what are divine masculines confronting? What would support them? What questions are they asking? All right, we have flip in reverse. How does the situation look and feel from a different view? Okay, so this is goes along with the divine masculine journey, the last few readings, right? Divine masculines have been pulling back. They've been sinking into the seat of soul and trying to access their intuition and discernment. So, right, this card is inviting masculines to entertain different possibilities. You've heard me say many, many times of how can I look at this through the lens of the highest and best possible interpretation, right? Because when things happen that upset us or that rattle our cage, it's very easy to get caught up in the reaction energy of it and the longing of wanting it to be different than what it is. But really, when we can unplug from that emotional cycle and ground ourselves and try to just insert the intention of the highest and best possible interpretation, it opens up the door for the mystery come in. It opens up the door for the mystery to come in and actually reframe and reshape what is actually taking place. We also have this nurture card. What role is mothering energy playing in my life? So masculines, you might be asking yourself, hold on. Okay, so a part of the masculine's journey all this time has also been learning to heal their inner feminine. And if some masculines, I never know whether to speak directly to the masculines or about the masculines, so forgive me for toggling back and forth, but it kind of feels natural to do that. So bear with me as we ride that ride. So the journey of the inner masculine and divine masculine has been learning to embrace and honor their inner feminine. Part of that inner feminine archetype is also the mother, right? So they're learning to how to mother the parts of self, learn how to mother self in an unconditional, loving way. Okay, anything else, Spirit? The last thing I'll say about that is that masculines, I'm going to speak directly to you. Let's have a profound amount of grace and compassion for the parts of yourself that didn't know how to do that, that maybe didn't have the best examples in your life. A lot of masculine energy has been healing from not only their own wounded toxic masculine parts, but also the wounded toxic feminine energy out in the world. So the feminine energy that has, been manipulative, or the feminine energy that has used and abused sensuality and sexuality to get their way. And, the wounded feminine victim that uses emotions and pain to manipulate the situation and to trap different energies. That's kind of all I'll say. There's a lot we could go into, but masculines, have a lot of compassion for yourself if you haven't had appropriate or resonant or divine examples of a healthy, grounded, matriarchal energy. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Let's see what else we get. It's not an accident that we have this rabbit here. So rabbits, what are rabbits known for? They're known for their speed. Rabbits are also known for their high reproduction, right? They always make a million bunnies, right? So there's something here about learning to nurture and multiply that love, okay? Masculines. Anything else? And then we have Matt. Okay, literally, I just said this. Okay, so we have this map card. It says, which course takes me home? Masculines, again, this is a powerful, powerful time of discernment. So which course takes me home? If you haven't had a safe and flourishing home environment, it would make sense that you wouldn't know your way home, because the way to your home hasn't been the most peaceful, hasn't been the most nourishing, hasn't been the safest place for you in the past. So masculines, you are reclaiming something. You are reclaiming the part of self that knows that you get to set the home frequency. You get to set your core home loving environment, right? You get to choose what that is and then create beautiful, sacred, loving boundaries around what that is, right? You figure out what your core home frequency, what you want it to be, and then you say no to everything that is not that, right? I'm getting tongue twisted today. I don't know why. Which entails some difficult things, right? You might have to have some difficult confronting conversations with people, especially maybe some people from your past, right? If you go through this kind of love core frequency awakening, and now all of a sudden you know what it is that you want and what you don't want, you have to be the one to communicate those boundaries out into the world. That could be with your partner, that could be with your friends, with your family, it could be with coworkers, with your boss. And that takes a lot of effort, time, and nuance, right? It takes a lot of discernment to learn how to navigate that in a diplomatic way, because let's just be real, humans don't often react very well to boundary setting. A lot of the general public might immediately go into their own I don't want to say neuroses, that's not the right word, but their own mental process, and think, oh, what is this saying about me? And they might get mad. Maybe they retaliate. Maybe there's a backlash, right? And that could have some tough repercussions, especially if it is like a family member or even like a boss, or, it might affect your job. There's all these other secondary and tertiary things that we have to think about. And it's not about thinking about not having these difficult things. It's more about, how can I create win-win scenarios? How can I own my truth, create boundaries around the truth, and invite others with that same amount of grace and intention and consciousness? It's very difficult. I'm just going to say that let's name how difficult it is. I don't want to, I never want to, like, a lot of the topics and ideas I bring up in these readings are really rooted in deep psychology or trauma work or deep transformational work. And I know I might share it in a light way, but again, you might remember me saying often in the beginning of this channel, I'm going to explain it. So we have an experience, and from experience to integration, that is one journey. And that could take you a day, that could take you 50 years. We have no idea. But then there's another chapter, from integration to embodiment. And again, that could take you, 2 weeks, or it could take you 20 years. We have no way of knowing how long we need to stay in each chapter. But, what I always say is, like, you have the experience, and that's all of the, maybe you're in a relationship, maybe you took a course or a workshop, or you went to a retreat and you were exposed to all this new stuff, right? These new ideas, and then your system, which includes your entire life existence, your internal and external worlds, your system bumps up against all of that new information, and it starts churning and questioning, and, you're turning over every stone and trying to, like, measure your life against these new ideas, and it might feel like wobbly or uncomfortable. That's the integration process. That's the kind of upheaval that happens. once you come into a peaceful relationship with all of that upheaval, that's when embodiment starts to take place. It's embodiment to me. So from experience to integration, to me, that's a very hands on the wheel experience. From integration to embodiment, that's a hands off the wheel, right? That's a like, we just wake up one day and we are just different people. We start living different ways. We speak different. We access different ideas. Our responses and reactions are different. That's the like, that's the natural way when you can wake up and just naturally exist in a new way of being. That's how you've touched embodiment. You're not trying to be a certain way, you just are that way. I always bring up, my mentor had this great line about in the Middle Ages, they had this idea of co-naturality. Co-naturality means you know what you know by virtue of being what you know. Meaning they didn't need to have a bunch of diplomas on the wall to prove you were a certain way or that you could do certain things. They just were that way. And thus the community, the village, the town knew that that person was that way. Thus, they had the wisdom behind them because they are that way, right? The proof is in the pudding. And so I love that concept because we know what we know by virtue of being what we know. I am a certain way today, and that's why I'm teaching here on YouTube, because of all the crap that I've been through and all of the sacred rites of passage that I've moved through. And now I have this, right? I have wisdom from all of that experience, and now I get to share it with you. So now I'm in a certain level of embodiment, but by no means am I done, right? We are constant, living, breathing organisms. This journey is a constant flux of expansion and contraction and expansion and contraction, and love and fear, right? We're always trying to come into a more surrendered, peaceful relationship with change and with control, right? Trying to let go of control, but trying to control a little bit, trying to, guide our intentions, but not be so rigid, right? There's all this like upheaval and this new way of trying to be in the world that is just surrendered and peaceful, right? Okay, anything else? Oh, we got another one. We have this stalking card. It says, is my pursuit both honorable and focused? Okay, masculine. So this is kind of a big one, and it's taking up a lot of energy in my chest and in my heart. So I want to lovingly, compassionately, delicately broach this subject. So in our culture, masculine energy has also been kind of vilified as this like out of control masculine who needs to spread their seed. And, monogamy is not natural for masculines because they have to just go and, pursue their animal desires and all these different things. So I want to hold, I want to air that kind of dirty laundry of our culture. I want to name those things. And I also want to hold our culture to something higher, right? That's what I'm doing here. Why would I be doing this work if I wasn't inviting myself and others to access the highest and best possible interpretation of what's going on, right? My mission here is to anchor unconditional love, authenticity, and infinite oneness. So part of that is also embracing my inner masculine, right? And if you are predominantly masculine, you're learning to embrace your inner feminine and come into a symbiotic relationship with that union within, right? Okay, so we have this delicious question here. Is my pursuit both honorable and focused? This is such a poignant, let me just put it dead center for a moment. This is such a poignant moment for masculines. Masculines, are you listening? This is your moment. You are at a crossroads and you are in this delicious moment of discernment, right? Maybe you have been pursuing some kind of lower desires. Maybe you have just given in to your eros, to your arousal. Maybe you have been allowing yourself to be around people that don't have your best intention, that aren't here for the long run, that don't want to see you succeed. I'm not saying you are. I'm just posing these questions for you to look, almost look at these lenses, look through a lens of this reading at your life and just ask the question, right? There's no judgment. There's no, I don't want you to beat yourself up or chastise yourself or the parts of yourself that went to that experience because they needed something in that moment. Like, what's done is done. Honor that that was a truth for you, that that desire or whatever that situation looked like, that it was a truth for you in that moment. And now you are being called to an even deeper, richer discernment. Is your pursuit, is that pursuit, are your pursuits honorable and focused? Right? That is the high masculine, that is like the highest masculine throne energy. That is the divine masculine sitting on his throne, having a strong conscious intention and seeding his kingdom with honorable intentions. Now that seeding of your kingdom gets to look like whatever you want it to look like. Your kingdom could be your inner landscape. Your kingdom could be your nuclear family. Your kingdom could be your town or your community or your office, your work environment. There's no limitation on the reach of your energy, right? We are infinite beings. So if I was being true to my role as a oneness initiate, as a twin flame or a person on the twin flame path, I would say I would have to hold the highest and best possible interpretation of a divine masculine, right? And so divine masculines, you do have access to the planet, to the cosmos. You are much more worthy and have a greater reach than you could ever imagine, right? And so if you find yourself in kind of have been maybe stuck in the shadows or stuck in these low vibrational interactions with people, or even in situations where you're confronting kind of your lower frequency self, honor that that's okay. And that might be mirroring back to you how you feel about yourself, right? We what's that great quote from that book, we settle for the love we think we deserve. So masculines, are you settling for something? And really take a look back, like without judgment, look through the lens of compassion. Are you settling for something that you think you deserve? Honor that there may be a part of yourself that is struggling to love those parts of self. Honor that there might be a part of yourself that is struggling to access that self-confidence, that self-esteem, that worthiness, right? So your only job in this moment is to come back to that unconditional love and authenticity. That authenticity does include a lot of vulnerability. And for the masculine collective, vulnerability has been a very difficult thing, right? There's been many, many years where masculines were just for evolutionary reasons could not be, emotional, didn't have the means to be emotional because they had to protect the tribe or the family or go to war or whatever it was. And now we've kind of been working with shedding all of these old templates that says the masculine is one thing or the feminine is one thing, right? We are all the things. And so the amount of love you can extend to yourself will slowly allow all of those beautiful, delicious pieces of the self come up to the surface. Almost, I'm very drawn to all of these little flowers, all these little blooms, right? We have to create the right environment for flowers and plants to grow and bloom, right? Some plants won't thrive in a basement, right? Some plants need the rich soil and the wind and the air and the sun and the ecosystem and the pollination and all these things. But some might thrive in a basement, right? So it's our job again to drop into that pristine discernment. Okay, masculines, beautiful, beautiful. So yeah, I guess one last thing I'll say, you are on this path to becoming a diligent stalker of your internal parts, right? If you do something, if you catch yourself doing something unsavory or something that you might feel a little shame about, don't judge yourself, but sit back into the seat of self and just witness, right? Step into the role as the divine witness and stalk that shadow as you would like a predator stalking their prey. Like you need a little sweetness, you need a lot of patience, you need a lot of grace to witness that part of self in their natural habitat. But if you try to intervene too soon, you might scare them off and then you won't be able to extract more understanding and deploy compassion to that part of self, right? So you're learning to come into a more balanced relationship as you stalk these parts of self. Stalkings also sounds like kind of a little bit of an intense intense word, but you know what I mean. Okay. Anything else? Let me just shuffle again. Wow, really beautiful reading, masculines. Anything else for these beloved masculines? They're doing such a beautiful, beautiful job at asking powerful questions. Okay, we also have charm. Let me put these back. I cannot pick up my cards today. Okay, we have charm. It's this ladybug card. It says, what if everything is already working out? Masculines, this is a very feminine quality, right? Feminines can sit back in the seat of their throne and access their divine knowing, their intuition, their gnosis, their connection to source, and magnetize what they need and surrender when it's the precise moment of surrender. So again, this stalking of your internal parts may just be it, right? Your role may only be in witnessing and not intervening, not intercepting when you're when the parts of self want to take an action, right? We're here to learn about ourselves. And if you kind of cauterize or judge or shame self, you will never really know what your natural baseline energy is, right? So what if you just watched yourself? What if you just watched and loved as if a mother would, right? There are times in motherhood, and I'm not a mother, but I'm assuming, and I have many beautiful matriarchs in my family and lots of kids and lots of mothers in my family. There are times in motherhood where you intervene, and there's times of motherhood where you just hold the frequency of love and you let your children fall down, whatever that means. They could be 10, they could be 55, right? But sometimes you have to let your children do hard things carefully, right? If you see your child doing something difficult or dangerous in a careful way, it would actually behoove them for you not to intervene because they're learning about their edges, they're learning about their boundaries, they're learning when to push and when to fall back. They're learning, they're calibrating their internal GPS for what is safe, what is dangerous, what can my body do, what can't it do. You know, if they're climbing on a cliff, can I step there, or is that safe to step, or is it slippery? And if you're yelling at them or scolding them, or trying to keep them locked in the house to protect them, they will never gain those skills, right? Those very, very valuable skills that they undoubtedly will need in the future. So masculines, you are learning to step into this exalted motherhood, this exalted parenting of these parts of self. without intervening. So again, the question is, what if everything is already working out? What if your only job, masculines, and I know this is difficult for you because you do want to problem solve and penetrate the world and build things that last and all these beautiful sacred things, but in this moment, you're working on discernment, right? If you're just willy-nilly taking action out of impulse or reaction, then you're not flexing the discernment muscle, right? So what if your only job in this moment was to sit back, witness, and deploy love? And yes, if something is going to escalate and become incredibly dangerous, absolutely intervene. But if you are, if things aren't that dire of a situation, you are allowed to watch yourself fall. You are allowed to make mistakes. I think we forget that as adults, right? With children, we want them to make mistakes. We want them to fall down and get back up and fall down and get back up. Why? Because the process and fortitude and all the skills that are built in that space between being on the ground and choosing, making the choice, wielding discernment to get back up, that is a priceless experience. You can't gift someone that experience. It has to be earned through the process, right? Grit and resilience have to be earned. So do not rob yourselves, masculine, of this sacred upbringing, this sacred rite of passage, this growth cycle. So deploy love and hold, right? Hold your presence and just witness, right? Okay, what do we have in the unconscious? Okay, all right, we have a false shadow. So for those of you that know me, when I have a reversal in the unconscious position, meaning the bottom of the deck, the shadow position, to me a false shadow is, it's not what you think it is. The question is, what is mending? It's a healing card. So what you think is healing, or maybe what you've set your intention on healing, is not actually what is in the process of healing. And allow yourself to be surprised. That's what I'm going to say with this card. Hold on. That's so weird. I just got like an air bubble in my pocket, or in my throat. Wow, that's really, really weird. And now I'm like sort of pounding on my chest. Yeah, masculines, do you have something? I don't know who this is for, but I'm wondering if there's some sort of unspoken truth that is bubbling up that you've been pushing into the shadows. Fear not, because what you think is going to be difficult is actually not going to be difficult. And then the surprise of that is what you thought was going to be easy might pose to be a little bit more challenging. But all the more reason to surrender to this kind of role as the divine witness, because again, you're in this discernment piece of learning when to control, when to lean in and step in and take action, and when to lean back and just witness, right? The mother energy. Hold your breath, or hold your center for love. Take a deep breath and just watch your inner parts traverse a mountain, or traverse, walking on the rocks, right? Go back to that analogy of, a little kid walking on the rocks, and they have to, learn how to shift their weight and test if their footing is strong, or if it's slippery, or if the rocks are going to give out below them, right? I know it's scary, but just keep breathing. Take another breath, sit in, try to lean back and breathe into your back body, right? And just witness, just hold love and witness. Okay, this was a whole reading in and of itself, really powerful. I'm going to get just, I think, one more or a couple more cards. Anything else for masculine spirit? Anything else that would help them feel more secure or confident in this deep surrender process? Anything else you'd like to say, Spirit? Anything else? Whoa, those like launched out of this deck. I will look at this after. And then what do we have? These kind of came out all sideways, but Let's just put them upright for the sake of me reading them. We have broken arrow and embrace the energy of peace, right? This is that mother energy. This is that grandmother energy. I have the visual of like the matriarch, the grandmother, maybe she's in the kitchen and she's baking something with her daughters or something, and she's looking out the window at all of her grandkids and the rest of her family, and she just has a sense of peace and a sense of gratitude and reverence for what she has built, right? Your grandmother built that. She built that family. So embrace this beautiful energy of peace, masculines. Then we have holding the space. Let me put all these out. Holding the possibility that a harmonious resolution is possible. If you've recently been going through trials and tribulations after tribulations, that weight of all of that pain and that adversity could start weighing you down, masculines. But in your most quiet moment, allow yourself the spark of possibility. Allow yourself to embrace and hold the idea that a harmonious resolution is actually possible. And then the last card we have learn from your spiritual experiences. So if you have had spiritual experiences, in my experience, the feminine energy has been much more open to embracing the realm of the unseen, the mystery, the unknown, and it seems like the feminine energy more easily integrates spiritual experience, but masculines, don't leave yourself out of the equation. You yourself have had profound spiritual experiences, so you're being called to validate those experiences for yourself, right? No one has lived in your shoes. No one has lived in your body. You have been with you from birth, and you'll be with you till the end, or till there is no end, right? We're infinite creatures, but no one can validate those experiences like you would validate them for yourself. So there's something here about reclaiming your role with spirit. And if that doesn't seem very cool or sexy or whatever, that's your work, right? If you've been judging that part of yourself or pushing that part of yourself into the shadow, again, call upon your inner mother and mother the part of yourself that both wants to judge that part and the other part, the spiritual part that has felt neglected and abandoned and betrayed. I'm going to leave it there. This was a really beautiful reading, masculines. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of all of us for continuing to take another step forward. I'm sending you so much love, and I will see you in the next one.